Hello, these are the instructions on how to complete a peer review form for the rough draft peer reviews. So first you're going to go to your worksheets tab on Moodle and you're going to click on the peer review form. Then you're going to need to print that form out or make it PDF accessible to be able to make corrections or type on it. Once you have it to where you can actually make comments on the peer review form, it should look similar to this, or it will be a digital copy that you can actually type on. Now, let's talk about how to fill out that peer review form. So, you should have received an email with one of your peers' paper attached. In that paper, we're going to give them some corrections and feedback so that they can hopefully make any mistake or correct any mistakes before they turn in the version that I will then look at and grade. I do not look at people's paper beforehand and give you comments. That's what the peer review have specific questions. I'm always happy to answer those specific questions, but I don't take the time to read through all of my students' papers before they turn them in and then give them feedback. That's what the grading process is for. Okay. And the peer review process is for you to get that free feedback from your peers. So let's talk about how to fill that out. Up here at the very top, you're going to put the peer author of the paper who you received. So whatever person it is, whose name it is that is on that paper, that's what you would put here under author. Over here on this one, you're going to put the day that you're actually filling out your peer review, not the day that it's due. So if you're doing it today, for instance, it would be March 29th, 2023. If you're doing it tomorrow, it would be March 30th, 2023. So put the date here. Down here at the very bottom where it says reviewer, you're going to put your name here. Okay. Next, let's talk about abstract. So in this first slot, we have the abstract. What I want you to do is give them feedback on whether or not they have a title page, an abstract, and an annotated bibliography included with their rough draft. And we're going to give them feedback on said title page, abstract, and annotated bibliography. So for the title page, we want to make sure that one, well, not just the title page, the entire document should be Times New Roman 12-point font, some type of legible font listed on the APA All Purdue website. Also, we want to make sure that it's double spaced throughout the entire document, from title page all the way to the annotated bibliography, which is the last of your paper. To make sure that it has 1-inch margins, the margins are right here along the edges. As you can see, this document has maybe a 1/2-inch margin, right? It's not quite the 1-inch margin, but we want to make sure that there are 1-inch margins on all sides throughout the entire document. And we want to make sure that the entire document is double spaced. Once we've checked all that, we're going to move on to the title page. But if they didn't have all of that completed through the entire document, in the abstract is where we would put our comments about that. Also, we're going to look at the title page. We want to make sure that every page has a header and that the header is up here in the upper right corner and is only a page number. We also want to make sure that on the title page, the title begins about 1/3 of the way down. That's going to be our first line on that page, and it should be bold. It should not be all caps. It should be uppercase and lowercase. All important words of a title are uppercase. Any unimportant words are lowercase, such as and, of, the. Also, we want to make sure that after they put their title about 1/3 of the way down, they're going to, underneath that, on the second line, put the name of the institution. I'm sorry. No, they're going to put their name. So that's where you will find out who the author is. They're going to put their name there. Then they're going to put the name of the institution below their name on the third line. Below the name of the institution, which should be Southeast Arkansas College, and it's okay for them to put SEARK, all caps. Underneath that, we're going to put the title of the class that you are in, which is Composition 2. Underneath that, we are going to put the name of your professor, which is Professor Dixon, Dixon. And then underneath that, we're going to put the day that the assignment is due. Okay, so that date is going to change every time they turn in a new essay component. And for this portion of the essay, the first 1,000-word draft is due on April 2nd. So it should say April, comma, 02 2023. That's all that should be on the title page. It should all be centered, and it should start a third of the way down. Again, if you need a reference to look at, make sure that you look up the APA-AL Purdue website. You can do that by looking or clicking on the link underneath the resources tab in your Moodle. Okay, so on the second, and if they have any mistakes on the title page, again, we would note it right here underneath the abstract. On the second, and we should have a header that says 2 for the second page. We should have a title centered, but on the very first line this time. So it should only, because there's 1-inch margins, it should only be about 1 inch down the page. And it's going to say abstract. It will also be in bold, but it's not going to be all caps. It's going to be uppercase A, and the rest of the word will be lowercase. Abstract in the center. Then on the very next line, they should begin their abstract. This should be a half page to 3/4 of a page paragraph that explains what their paper is going to be about. It should not have an indentation. It should be all the way flush left. Again, this is all we want to see on page 2. On the third page, we should see again a header here, page number 3. And this is where we begin our rough draft. So, title page, abstract page, and overall formatting of Times New Roman 12-point font or a legible font that's listed on the APA-AL Purdue website. Double space, 1-inch margins. That should be here. Any corrections or comments that you have to make about that should be here. Also the title page, also the abstract. This is where you make all those comments. Mostly because I've only given you a small spot to do that, because if that person has turned in their abstract and their annotated bibliography, then they've already gotten a lot of that feedback from me already. So there shouldn't be a lot for you to correct. If they don't have that included with their rough draft, you simply put here, add title page, add abstract. Now, they should also have included their annotated bibliography, but it will not be on the third page. Their rough draft will be on the third page, possibly the fourth and fifth page as well. But after the rough draft, that's when we should see the annotated bibliography. So you can go ahead and flip to the annotated bibliography just to make sure that it's there. I'm not going to ask you to make sure that they've cited things correctly. That's not really your job. That's my job. And again, if they've already turned in the annotated bibliography, they've gotten feedback from me, and they should be able to correct that. But we just want to make sure they've included that annotated bibliography. If they haven't, you need to put include bibliography. The reason we're doing this is because we don't want anyone to forget that for the assignment that is due underneath your essays tab, the one that I will grade, the 1,000-word draft, I am requiring that you have your title page, your abstract, your rough draft, and your annotated bibliography, because this is a working document that we will continue to add to throughout the semester. So I want you to make sure that you already have everything in order, and that you just have to keep adding to your rough draft. and maybe make some corrections or changes to your annotated bibliography as you decide, I'm not going to use that source, or I want to add a new source. So again, any of those corrections or comments will go underneath the abstract portion, and we want to again check overall formatting of APA 7th edition. If we see any errors, we make a comment here. Also, we want to make sure that they have their title page, abstract page, and annotated bibliography included with their rough draft. If they don't, we want to make comments here about it. So moving on, major grammatical mistakes is only going to apply to the rough draft. I want you to read through the rough draft, and again, you don't have to read through it and look for every single little mistake. We're looking for major grammatical mistakes, things that pop out to the eye. So things like contractions. Do you see apostrophes being used in contractions throughout their paper? If so, we want to put a comment of no contractions, because they need to correct that before they turn in their final draft. They'll get points counted off for it. Also, we want to make sure that we check for things like first person and second person usage when we should only be using third person. And that's easy to find because if we just glance over paper, usually the words like I or you, me, my, us, we, or your pop out to the eye. So if you see any of those while reading through, we want to make sure we make a comment of third person only here so that they know to correct that, because again, they'll get points counted off for that when they turn that draft into me. Some other major grammatical mistakes that you might notice is maybe missing punctuation, or perhaps you notice that they have run-on sentences or sentence fragments. Things, again, I'm not asking you to look into a detailed way about the grammar. Anything that pops out to your eye that you think that they might need to take a second look at and possibly make some changes on, note that here. After we've read through that rough draft, I want us to focus on the thesis. The thesis is, again, the main idea of the entire paper. And there are specific questions that the thesis should be answering. That is, what is the theme that they're focused on in this paper? And why is that theme important in their eyes were watching God? So what I want you to do is read their introductory paragraph and locate that thesis. You're looking for 1 to 2 sentences that summarize an answer or answers to those questions. Which theme are they focusing on? And why is that theme important in their eyes were watching God? So once you've located the thesis in that introductory paragraph, please underline it in their rough draft so that they know what you're referencing when you talk about their thesis. Okay, so this may mean that you need to print their rough draft off or figure out how to make annotations to their rough draft digitally. But once you underline the thesis, that's where you will then read through the thesis again, read through the introductory paragraph, and answer the questions. Did they answer that question of which theme they're talking about? And did they answer the question of why that theme is important in their eyes were watching God? So that's where you'll make comments here. You'll either tell them that they need to clarify their thesis by answering one of those questions or both of those questions. Or maybe you'll say, I couldn't find a thesis. But this is where you'll put those comments. And if everything looks good and in order, then you can just put good thesis. We're going to move on to the first body paragraph. This should be the second paragraph of the paper, of the rough draft. What I want you to locate in the topics, and this would be for topic 1, topic 2, and topic 3. They may not have 3 body paragraphs yet. They may only have 2, or they may only have 1 big one. So you will need to do it for every body paragraph that they have. Remember, these should be paragraphs 2, 3, and 4. We're looking for the same thing in each of these. Locate the topic sentence and underline it. The topic sentence, if you remember, is the main idea of the body paragraph. And that topic sentence should also help prove the thesis. So as you're reading through the body paragraph, I will say typically the topic sentence is the first sentence of the body paragraph, but it does not have to be. As you read through the topic sentence, ask yourself, what is this paragraph about? And what sentence tells me that this whole paragraph is about that thing? So once you locate that sentence, underline it. And then again, reread that sentence and look back through the paragraph and ask yourself, does this topic sentence accurately tell me what this paragraph is about? Did they do a good job on telling me what this paragraph is about in the topic sentence? If they didn't, give them comments on it. If they did, then ask yourself, does this topic sentence help prove the thesis? You may have to go back up and reread what you underlined to ask yourself if that topic sentence helped to prove the thesis. And if it did, then you just want to say, topic one paragraph has a clear topic sentence and helps to prove the thesis. If it does not, then we want to make any comments we have about that topic sentence here underneath topic one. The next thing we do in the topic paragraphs is we want to read through the whole paragraph and ask ourselves, is there enough supporting details? Meaning, are there enough other sentences that help provide proof or evidence to prove topic one sentence, or topic two sentence, or topic three sentence, right? So then we make comments here whether they did or they didn't. Either you have enough supporting evidence or you do not have enough supporting evidence. Underneath quotations, we just want to look and see, do they have any quotations in this body paragraph? If they do not have any quotations, then here is where we might say, think about adding some evidence from a source. If they do have quotations, we just want to make sure, did they use quotation marks? Did they put an in-text citation there to tell the reader that this was not their information and where they got that information from? Because if they didn't, we need to make sure that we notate that here and tell them to do so they don't get points counted off. Again, you're going to do that for topic one, topic two, and topic three. When you get down to the conclusion, we're going to leave that blank because we're not at the conclusion yet. The conclusion will come after that 2,500 words, and we're only 1,000 words in. So we're just going to focus on topic one, topic two, and topic three today. Okay? Once you have completed this entire form, then you are going to email me this form and the annotated version of your peer's paper. The annotated version is the version where you have underlined the thesis and the topic sentences. Once you send this form and that annotated version back to me, then I will forward it to the original author, and you should get yours back as well. Once everyone gets their original paper back with this form attached to an email, you're going to simply take that attachment that I sent to you and you're going to put it in the Dropbox under Moodle, under the revisions or the pre-writing and revisions tab on Moodle. You have 5 assignments there. The first one was brainstorming, the second one was outline, and the third one is peer review form for your 1,000-word draft. That's where you'll drop this thing and I will give you your points. If you did not turn in a rough draft for this peer review, I will give you a 0. We will be doing a peer review for the 2,000-word draft and the final draft as well. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to email me or call me during my office hours. Thanks. Have a good day.